Hello, this is Andrew. Welcome to Collaborative Learning. Today's book is Hitler and the Power of Aesthetics, by Frederic Spotts. If you like my work, please give it a like, subscribe to this channel, check the playlists, and support me on Patreon and PayPal. The links to Patreon and PayPal are included in the description to this video. First, I'll describe the contents of the book, talk about what's interesting about it, then I'll move on to what you can get out of this book. The film is a catastrophe, but has no reason why we should not find him interesting as a character and as an event. Quote by Thomas Mann, found in the essay, Brother Hitler. Frederic Spotts' Hitler and the Power of Aesthetics is a study of Hitler's artistic policies in the Third Reich. It's a contribution to an understanding of how the power of aesthetics strengthened the strange fascination exerted by Adolf Hitler over the Germans in the 1930s. It is an innovative reassessment of Hitler's aims and motivations as fundamentally that of an artist that used culture, politics, and war to achieve his aim for immortality and legacy. Studying aesthetics is the key to getting a fuller understanding of the Third Reich and the motivations behind it. It also helps one understand the meaning of art in other totalitarian regimes like communism, and also as its function of propaganda. The Hitler aesthetic explores the uniforms, music, architecture, motion pictures, city planning, interior design, party banners, and other forms of art. The book integrates with the text a large gallery of evocative photographs and reproductions of relevant architecture, painting, sculpture, and photography. The book begins by outlining how a Hitler in his 20s, with no artistic training and limited talent, worked as a young artist, selling his paintings of a city that he was living in, Vienna. But then things took a radical shift for the young artist. The First World War broke out and Hitler fought in it. Afterwards, he joined the German Workers' Party of 1920 and found his true calling as orator. He was propelled into a position of authority and transformed the party into the Nazi Party. These facts are well known by people interested in World War II. What is less well known is the fact that Hitler had huge artistic ambitions his entire life, and even as the dictator of Germany, he spent a lot of time with artistic pursuits. He was often highly distracted from his work as a politician and as a warlord by these cultural pursuits. Hitler's interest in the arts was as intense as racism. He used his arts to disguise the massive crimes that were the means to fulfilling his ends. Hitler's vision of a racial superstate was to be expressed as much in art as in politics. He actively worked to manipulate German culture to Hitler's desired vision. It was an important means of achieving power over the people. Hitler very consciously used rhetoric, the human body, buildings, operas, heraldry, pageantry, storytelling, sculptures, rituals, formations, symbols, music, visuals, and other aesthetic considerations to create the mystique of the Third Reich. A famous example of this was in the film Triumph of the Will, which is taught in many schools as an example of powerful propaganda. These scenes overwhelmed people with their visual and audio effects and gave them a sense of awe of the greatness of the Third Reich, as if it was the rebirth of the Roman Empire. The party rallies had a lot of formations, processions, and dedications that were a blend of religion and politics. The taste of Hitler was relatively narrow, though. His love of art and use of it as propaganda was pretty much limited to 19th century German romantics and some of the painters of the Italian Renaissance. He loved opera, but only Wagner and Puccini. His architectural taste was neoclassical, Greek, and Roman. Germany was rebuilt with highly exaggerated neoclassical buildings and sculptures. This also extended to important government buildings, like the elaborate and famously destroyed Reichschancellery. Hitler thought all of modern art, which was for him started with Impressionists, was degenerate art and deliberately destroyed the modern art scene in Germany by banning modern art and artists. He also banned Jewish artists, composers, critics, and conductors and forced many to leave the country. However, despite all these efforts, the Nazi art, such as National Socialist realism, was not successful in producing good art, and even Hitler had to admit that this was the case. Nazi-themed art failed to inspire great painting. In the era of sculpture, it was more successful. In the case of Arno Breker and Josef Thorak, but the subject matter of extremely imposing Aryan men and women with arrogant expressions, was also narrow-minded. In the era of architecture, Hitler created grand architectural models of New Berlin and other places in the neoclassical style. He was also fascinated with opera houses. Hitler's plan for his artistic vision dominating Germany continued unto his death. Wagner was the music for German propaganda in World War II and the soundtrack for Triumph of the Will. Hitler's final obsession was making Linz, Austria, the greatest cultural city in the world, and he spent a lot of his final days studying the architectural models. Ultimately, the problem with Nazi art was that it rested on a horrifying political, social, and racial ideology, despite sometimes being visually appealing on the surface. It was preoccupied with spraying a selfish need for legacy and immortality. It was abusive in how it made other types of art disappear and is now tainted as art of evil, arrogance, destruction, tyranny, and war. Hitler seemed to love Germany and Germans without loving and cherishing the lives of individual Germans. To finish up Beyond the Third Reich, this comprehensive book will teach the people the importance of aesthetics. Aesthetics is important not only at the periphery of culture and society. I'll go far enough to say that it's at the centerpiece. I rate this fascinating book a 5 out of 5. So that's what I think about Hitler and the power of aesthetics. Please put your thoughts and ideas in the comment section. They always make a great conversation. I hope you find my review to be informative. Thanks for watching.